How's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's Workshop. Glad you're here today because this is part 2 of making mods to the Massey Motel. She's not even a week old, eh? And we're making modifications to it already. But it might be shocking to hear this, but I'm going to electrify the Massey Motel. Let's do it. So the other day I ran this extension cord over here and I brought it around the wall, and I was going to put an outlet on this stud, but now I changed my mind. I'm going to put it here because of where I located the shelf, right? So I need to drill another hole here. I'm drilling close to the bottom just because. Alright, so then I have an outlet box here. I'm going to put this box right here, and I have to put a disclaimer in here. I worked for a long time as an industrial electrician, but I was never a licensed commercial electrician or a licensed residential electrician. So what I do is you know, it's not necessarily according to code. It's just what I do. So pay attention to that. A lot of people when they build houses, they have a set measurement from the floor that they put their outlets. I like my outlets to be a little bit higher because I'm old and I don't like to bend over. So I've got enough wire here that I can put my outlet up about this high, and I think that's where I might just put it, right there. But again, this is not code. There's probably a code rule that says where the outlet should be located. I don't know what that is, but this is where I'm putting mine, so. But I'm not a licensed red seal electrician of any kind. Okay, so that wire is going to go in there whenever I get some tools to put that in. So now I'd like to turn my attention to putting a bit of a board in here so I can put an electrical nerve center. I want to have a switch here for the lights, for one thing. I'd like to have a switch there for a switched outlet, because I'm going to have a battery charger here, and I'd like to be able to turn the battery charger on and off. And also the service I have out here, it's only a 15 amp service, so like I'm not going to be having power tools out here or welders or any kind of things like that. I'm just going to run a couple of LED lights and a battery charger. So I took a piece of the scrap 3/8 plywood from the skin of the enclosure, and I made this little panel here where the electrical switches and outlets are going to go. And I'm going to install that right here next to the shelf, but it was kind of flimsy there, eh? So I put this piece of rand flooring in up here to give it sort of a brace, so that's going to make it a lot more solid, plus another little shelf. Also, this outlet here, this is going to be where the switch goes for the lights, so I can put that switch box on this stud, but this one is going to be for a switched outlet, and I figured if I put that box against that stud, it was going to be too close to the shelf. So what I did was I moved it over some, and I have a little scrap piece of 2x4 here that I'm going to put right in there, and then I'll be able to attach my box right there. Just a couple of screws will hold that just about perfect. There, that's not bad. What I need to do for this here, I need to gang up two just ordinary 1104 boxes. And you can buy those boxes that have the removable sides on them. So that's what I did here. And just join two of them together. So that's going to go in here. So this should go right in here. And I have a couple of screws here to hold this box in place. Alright, so that'll hold that. Now, just a little bit of explanation of what's going to take place here. I'm going to have my power coming in on this extension cord down here. And this is just an extension cord, that's all it is. So don't forget, like I said earlier, I'm no qualified electrician. This is not to code. This is just the way I'm wiring it up. But I think I'm making it pretty safe, so it should be alright. But I'm going to bring my power in here, and I'll have a powered outlet here, powered outlet all the time. And then I'm going to take a feed up here, and I'm going to have a switched outlet in this box, so I'll have a switch here and an outlet on that side. and then I'm going to run another feed over to here with a switch that's going to go up to my lights. So what I need to do is I need to tie in the wire now. I want to tie this extension cord into this box and run a piece of 14-2 up to here, and then another loop 14-2 over to here, and then from here up to my lights. So we're going to start with putting the extension cord into the box. Okay, and now I'm going to come up the top of this box with some 14-2. So I have got some old wire. Of course, whenever I rewire something, I always, if I'm pulling something out, pull the wire out, I always save it. For a couple of reasons. One, copper is worth something these days, so you can just take the wire back to the junk dealer and get some money for it. Or you can save pieces like this. This piece is only 5 feet long, but we can use that on this job right here. Now I noticed the jacket on this is kind of split here, so this part of it is no good, so I'll make sure I use the other end. Okay, so that's that one looked after. I need to bring this feed into this box, so I'm going to bring it in the bottom. You see, I'm only going to need about this much, so why don't I just cut that off there. I need to run a feed now, because what's going to happen in here is this feed is going to come to a switch, and then it's going to switch this outlet. But I need to feed 110 over to here, so I need to have another run that goes over there. So this was a 5-foot piece of wire that was basically scrapped, but it's going to work perfect here, right here where that jacket was broke. I can cut that off right there. And then this piece will do for my loop over here, right? So don't waste anything, that's what I always say. Now on this box, I'm going to have this little jumper. It's going to feed in there, but I have to feed back out to go to my light. So I'm going to knock both of these knockouts out. I need to have a hole in this piece of 1x that I have on top of it here to run my wire up top. So I'm going to drill that hole now. So I put 2 screws in the back here, so I want to make sure I drill between the screws. So now we're going to take our little piece here that we had for our jumper and feed that out this hole. And in this hole. This is the hard part. There, that's about right. And before I tighten that strain leaf up, I'm going to leave it loose because I need to run my wire up to the lights. So what I had to do was had to drill a hole in this stud, because I'm going to bring my wire from this box up through here, and up through the top plate and over to the light. Just peel off some wire off the spool here, fish it through there. Whenever you're pulling wire, I find anyways, and I'm no expert, don't forget, if you can get the wire to pull off the spool flat, it lays a lot nicer when you're laying it out. That's just a tip, because it always looks nicely. When you're laying your wire, if you can lay it flat like that, it looks a lot nicer than say if it's all twisted. OCD. So now this is going to come up through here. And then we're going to run this wire along this cord of the roof rafter, bring it down here and into this box. So that looks like it's about enough there to service that box. So I'm going to put a staple right here. because I don't want the wire like to be hanging and dangling and maybe getting caught in anything, I'm going to put a couple of staples along here just to make sure that it stays where I want it. One more over there ought to do it. And that comes down there, and I'm going to put a staple, 2 staples down here. So now on this side, that's going to come down in there. So we'll cut it off about here somewheres. We'll put that down through the hole we drilled here. And then fish that in the hole in the box. So that's going to come down and go right in the hole right there. Hey, that was easy. All right, how's that look? When we get lots of wires in boxes like this, how do we keep track of them, right? Sometimes it's good to get a marker and just mark on it what the run is for. But in this case, it's kind of simple, really. I put the lights on the far side of the box, so I know that that's the lights. This one is the jumper, and the jumper goes in the top of this box, and the main feed goes in the bottom. So it's pretty easy for me to keep these feeds straight, but it's not a bad practice to write on the run what it is once you run it. So now I need to run another piece of 14-2 from this light back to the light in the back side there. So off camera, I put this chase up here, just a piece of 1x, just something to nail the wire to help protect it and keep it from sagging down. Once more, I think it's a good practice when you're running wire to run them as neat as you can. It might take a little bit extra time, but not a lot, but it sure makes the job look nicer. So I like to leave, outside the box. It's always a question, how much wire do you leave? I like to leave 5 or 6 inches. You can always cut it shorter, but you can't make it longer, so bear that in mind too, right? Anyway, all right, that's going to do that. Now what I want to do is tighten that wire and lay it out flat, staple it against this chase that I put in. Now while we're here, I think what I'll do is I'll strip this wire back and tie in this outlet, go do that one and work my way back to the switches. Well, you know how I hate making multiple part videos, but you know what? I'm going to make this multiple part. Sorry about that, but we're going to call her off here for electrifying the Massey Motel. I've done all the rough in of the wiring, so in the next video, in part 3, we'll actually connect it all up. But I want to explain how I'm connecting it up and why I'm connecting it the way I'm connecting it, in case anybody's following along, and they may be a little bit interested in that. But anyways, let me know what you think so far of the way I've wired up the Massey Motel. And don't forget to thumbs up me. And have a great week wherever you are. We'll talk to you.